What's up YouTube, welcome back to MMOSWORLD. We're taking a first impressions look, your first steps at Ascent Infinite Realm, which is in the Thai, well, it was open beta when they were giving out keys for their publisher, PlayPark, but it's now in CBT because they stopped giving out keys due to reasons they did not foresee, like high traffic and lots of people, not just in Southeast Asia, that are trying to get into this, but from globally as well, using VPNs to bypass stuff to get into this game. So Ascent Infinite Realm, for those that don't know, is made by Bluehole, makers of Terra and of course PUBG as well, and this game is not yet released in the West. It is coming to the West, and Kakao Games have the license for it, but in Thailand right now, besides Korea, Thailand is in a far more advanced stage, and PlayPark, the publishers for Thailand, paid a lot of money to make sure that Thailand got it first for some reason. So here's what we're going to do. Let's create a character, let's go through the early game, let's see what the game is like, what movement and early combat and other stuff alike, but we can't of course talk about story. I don't speak Thai, but at least you can see the game in action. So we'll spend about 10, 15, 20 minutes checking this game out. Anyway, here's character creation. You have 4 classes, the Hunan, which are humans basically. You have elves as well. You have the Ain or the In, which are these furry monster thingies, and then you've got orcs. Now the thing about races is, you know, most Asian games have gender locking. Air only gender locks this race, the Ain, because you can't make a female version of this, but everything else is fair game, so that's decent. So what we're gonna do is we will play a human. Let's be boring for once, and we'll play a female human. And now we go to the class section. So on the right side you'll see there's 5 classes right now. You have the warlord, and these are basically your stats: attack speed, crit rate, your range, defense, and support. So it looks like the warlord is kind of a mix of a, you know, can soak up some damage, can do tons of AoE by the looks of the video playing down in the bottom right. Then we have the elementalists, which I believe in the Western version, if you check the website, they're called the sorcerers, and they're all about attack and no defense, less support. So what's next? The mystic. Now Mystic's got full-on support, so I guess this is going to be primarily, you know, one of those buffer and healing type classes, even though Air doesn't really, you know, Air kind of reminds me of Guild Wars 2 with your class design. Like in Guild Wars 2, there are no archetypes. You don't roll a tank, you don't roll a healer per se, but every class has healing skills and has you know, skills that generate threat, I suppose. Think of Guardians, for example. They can do both. Most classes can. So that's the Mystic, and we have the Assassin, which is probably pure DPS, and finally we have the Gunslinger. That is all, it's range DPS essentially. So let's go ahead and play melee. Let's look at how melee works, because the game of course is made on the Unreal Engine. I think it's 3 instead of 4, so it's pretty old school in design. As soon as we get into the game world, most of you will recognize this engine, and you know what makes or breaks it. Like, I think range is fine, but if you play a melee class in an Unreal Engine game, you can tell whether it's poorly made or not. So here we are, character design right now. The first thing that comes to mind is Black Desert Online in terms of our character creation. It's pretty simple. So you can either pick a preset right now, just scroll left or right, then, or you can do a quick one, which just gives you, I believe, eyes, nose, and things like that. Or at the top, you click detailed, and in this screen, which takes a while to load, you have the full playground essentials, just like Black Desert Online, which for years now has had the best character creator screen to fully play with every body part. And if you slide your cursor over each body part, if you're in the head, you can of course adjust everything. So I guess people that really like customization, you guys are going to have fun here. So I'm pretty happy with the way my character's going. And now let's go ahead and create. Now we will need a name, of course. We'll do MMOSWORLD, and let's go ahead and head into the game. Alright, now we are in game after that brief introduction scene, which does establish a couple of things. First of all, you saw our character falling out of the sky. Now again, we don't know too much about the story, of course, we just fell out of the sky. And our wings just spread. Why? Because we have gliding in this game, similar to Guild Wars 2's gliding system. Secondly, yes, flying mounts are a big deal in Ascent Infinite Realm, aka Air. So first thing you'll notice, the UI, it will remind you of a lot of Korean games. And if you zoom in, everything else just goes blur, so very BDO-ish there with the graphics, but it's not quite BDO. For character models, look how static things are. Like, your hands are by your side, your legs are together, and as you turn around, it just doesn't really look that good. But otherwise, the running animation kind of reminds me of Terra a little bit. So you have a very decent, I guess, amount of skill hotbars down there, and you've got Q and E and R as well. You can, of course, key map that much later on. So F4 will bring up your flying mount, and every new player gets this by default, and then the option comes to show you how flying works. So all you gotta do is hit the spacebar to take off, and you are now flying. So that's cool, you get a flying mount right off the bat. Now if you look at the middle of the screen, right at the bottom there, just above my health bar, you'll see that the Wyvern has a purple bar. That is your stamina. So you cannot be in the air for too long. You need to get back down and replenish that stamina. Why is that important? Because aerial combat is going to be a thing. You'll be fighting enemies in the air in this game, and in the end game, you'll get your own airship, so you could do PvE raids and battles and PvP in the sky. And on the ground, you'll get cool other fighting mounts like mechs, for example. That just looks amazing. So first things first, let's go ahead and get on with the questing. So this is the first NPC you'll talk to. Hit the F button to interact, of course, and the cutscene will play kind of like BDO style, just give you a little bit of detail here. And we're just gonna blaze through this, obviously. And there you have it, XP and gold coins. And of course, the basic guide now comes up. Now this is really helpful if you understand the language, or even if you don't, watching these little cat video dude, which is pretty annoying actually. He kind of tells you, they show you what you need to do, or they do show you what's important. So if you're new to MMOs and you just want to jump into Thai closed beta for whatever reason, then watching these guides are pretty helpful. You can also bring up a wiki where you can see more videos about game mechanics that this cat talks about, but you don't have to listen to it. You can mute him, just watch the video and see the tutorial and play. That kind of mitigates the lack of the language barrier, I suppose. Let's go ahead and carry on with the main questing. Let's get to some combat. Let's show off some combat too. Okay, first things first, we are now going to go and look for a ladder. If you hold the shift button down, you're not going to sprint, so you have to double click the forward button to sprint, just like that. Here we are at the ladder, hit the F button, and up we go. Okay, double sprinting on the ladder doesn't quite work. But yeah, I mean, for Unreal Engine game, you'll see like a lot of the set pieces, building design, environment design, they're really reminiscent of other Korean games, and there's plenty out there that uses the same system. So now that we are in the quest spot, we have a quest item hotkey that's glowing down there, and that is the T button, which is a telescope, and we're going to take a look at the world here. Now, throughout this video, keep your eyes out for this thing called texture pop-ins. If anybody plays any sort of Korean game in the past, from BDO to Terra to other titles, whenever you move around the world, static NPCs and objects tend to pop into your screen like out of nowhere, like from a magic show, and that can be kind of jarring. That's a really big complaint with games like BDO, which looks amazing with the remastered version and everything. Unfortunately, that can be very annoying, those texture pop-ins. Uh-oh, here comes the cat again, but this is important. Okay, so I believe this is the gliding tutorial now? Yep. So once you're airborne, just hit the spacebar and you will now be able to glide, and that's all you need to know, really. So we'll be gliding down there to the tree. Let's go ahead and jump. and hit the space bar and glide. Now AA is to dodge, and another DD is to dodge, and then space S will be to like hold, so you can just hang in the air, stall for a little bit, and W is just to move forward. And once you're down in the ground at a good enough height, hit space bar to get out of your glide. And that is basic movement. Alright, Captain Lloyd, who I presume is going to tell us more about combat now. Yeah, I mean, based on what I know, the opening series of quests here is all about this entire island where we're at. We are on an airship called the Inventus, and we're surrounded by little floating islands which are actually play zones. And we'll go to each one and do a bit of tutorial, from killing enemies and learning how to fly and whatnot. Now, if you take a look at the global map, this is more reminiscent of Blast Online, where you have one faction in one area, you have another faction in the other area, and then in the middle is a contested zone. So you look at the map here, it says battlefield, right? So Dragon Canyon, contested zone, you'll fight the other faction. Tempest competition up here. Now, I said faction, you may be confused. What do you mean faction? At the character creator screen, you did not see me pick a faction because I've already picked a faction. There's two factions you can play as, the Ontari and the Vulpin, and I picked the Vulpin. So once you picked a faction for your account, you can no longer play as the other faction. Just like games like Blast Online. Kind of crappy that, but whatever. So here we are. Now this little glowy thing simply means instance. Once you move past this, it will be an instance somewhat, even though I still see other players in here. So these are dummies that we can now show off the combat system, but let's first talk to Lloyd. Now, if you ever doubted that the translation was coming, I mean, you look at most of the UI elements here, practice dummy, that's in English. And you look at the right side of the screen below the radar, collection book, world quest, a lot of the games already localized in English, but they had to relocalize it for Thailand first. And my theory is Thailand is the test grounds, really, just to see whether monetization works here, what the players think of the game before they start going globally. Let's activate the Tin Man, who will be our training dummy. And that's done, I suppose. Alright, now it's combat tutorial. We're going to do a Gale Strike, which, looking at the icon on the tutorial, that's my left mouse button. So that's your most basic attack. Wham. That's Gale Strike done. Next up, Battering Ram, which is my right mouse button. So let's go and do that. Wham, wham. So that's done. And now rearrange. Let's see. Do we have a tutorial for that? Okay, that is the Q button. And I believe that's just to get past him. So let's go ahead and hit the Q button first. Wham. Okay, so that kind of backs out. But I need... Okay, wham. Oh, that didn't work. There's a 12-second cooldown. Gotta wait for it. Oh, never mind. He died. Well, that's basically it. You have your basic combat skills, left and right mouse button. Just like such. And then on my hotbar, you'll see 1 and 2. Let's hit 2 for a bit. Those are your better skills that takes up your stamina or mana, whatever it is. The blue bar on the right side of the screen is above your hotbar. And then you have movement skills like Q that uses to get out of the way, kind of. That's basic combat on the ground. There's still air combat to come, so let's get to that. Oh, we're learning how to use potion now, right? Just hit T. And let's move on. Boom, level up. Okay, basic combat guide. Do we want to watch this? The worst part about these cat videos is you can't fast forward. So yeah, you know what? Let's skip the cat videos. Let's go straight to the next part of the quest. Harpy repellent. Excellent. Aw, that's taken. Alright, let's do that again. Alright, so I'm not controlling this. This is simply a kind of like a stable master to take me to the next island. I could, of course, obviously fly there. But in the early beginnings, you don't want to do that. Ah, there we go. Those are aerial monsters. So at least we have come up to the aerial combat portion of the game. Now, we won't be fighting them in the air right now, and you can see other players around me, of course. So our objective here is to come here and drop the Harpy repellent, which is done. Now the Harpies are gone. Now look at the phasing mechanic, because there's still players back there that haven't done that part of the quest yet. So the phasing mechanic is pretty decent, because there will be open world bosses that you will fight. And this is the aerial combat portion of it. Again, we're not gonna watch the cat because it's pretty straightforward. So what are we doing? We're gonna go and get on our war wyvern, which is this thing, and we're gonna go up and hit back down. In the meantime, all right, let's go to the Harpy Walker. As soon as I'm in range, I have my #1 skill just lit up there, and that is a charge. Now that I'm in range, you'll notice that I'm doing my class skills that I did on the ground, only the difference is I'm on air. Now, air combat, if you stand there and take the enemy's damage, not very smart. You can dodge. You can do the same thing with the gliding. Double A to get out of the way there, double D to get out of the way there, but your mounts have a stamina bar. See that circle right between my two hotbars? That yellow, the golden thin line. Now watch what happens when I dodge. It goes down a half stamina bar. So you got to time those things really, just like Guild Wars 2 really, when you double dodge out of the way. So air has that as well. Once you're down, hit B to get off your mount. Let's talk to Rexion. I'm not even going to pretend to know what was just said there, but if you look at the quest tracker on the right, that is a kill quest, obviously, and much of oh no. Uh-oh. Alright, let's see if I can get on my... No, I can't. I'm dead. Well, that's good, because now we get to see what happens when you die. So, it says here, I can use a Resurrection Stone, something level 30, something 10% XP in PvP World Quest. So if you die, something crappy happens, and you lose that stuff. Okay, let's have to get back our Resurrection Stone. Okay, there we go. Since we're not in any sort of a PvP zone, or we're still in the tutorial, that won't matter too much. But if you die in later levels, I think it's kind of like Bless. You don't have a res scroll, and in PvP, you can get penalized with that minus 10% XP buff or whatever. These guys are just basically gear merchants. Now again, the UI will look incredibly similar. Let's go ahead and sell this scale. There you go. And buy stuff if you want to. Merchant, what do you got? This guy sells potions and a teleporter as well. And a common treasure pick. Wingsuits are basically what you use to fly. So if I open up my character panel here, this is what you will see. All the gear that I've equipped, and you have cosmetic slots as well. Your attack power, defense power, and of course your average item level. Gear progression, which we won't see until much later on, involves things that you're probably familiar with, like enchantment and enhancing. +7, +8, using your enchanting bar, and then there will be a chance to fail. So think of all the Korean MMOs that you know of that use that system, and that's what you're going to get. Other cool things, of course, involves... let's just play around with it first. You have pets that you can summon, and if I'm not mistaken, pets can do stuff like collect things that drop on the ground. Otherwise, you'll have to manually pick them up. And you have rankings, your leaderboard rankings as well. You can see who are the top players. The level cap, I believe, I'm not sure, 50, 60, or soft cap, and then you go from there. Everybody, at least the highest person right now is 43. And then you've got honor as well, I guess for PvP, dungeon as well, treasure room, fishing, and estate, which is basically player housing. Let's see if we can visit one of these houses. Oh, I can't because I'm in a tutorial, right? The other thing is achievements in this game are pretty decent. Not only do you get titles for completing different stuff from questing, look at the different types of titles you can get. Area, realm reconstruction, world quest, delivery estate, arena, battlefield, trade. And you don't just get, you know, titles, you get good stuff too. So I don't know what I just did, but I'm getting 10 AP for that, so that's achievement points. And high grade, the horn, the transportation horn, I believe. So you pick that up, and you can just see all the different items you can get. So at least that's decent. Oop, did I just see a character slot somewhere? Where did I see that? Oh, damn it. I just saw something slots. You could actually get another character slot from just completing some achievements here. That's that. I have gotten the title now, normal. I've got Chatty, Helper, Rising Star, and Expedition True. Let's go ahead and do Chatty. So now, if I turn on my nameplate, you'll see that my name, you know, I have the title of Chatty on me. I can't see it. Anyway, let's go ahead and do some more killing. I need to kill 5 of each. Okay, we have a Mine Harpy here. And you'll notice some other players are already doing it. But there is open tapping, so you know it's not going to be as frustrating. And the respawn rates are very fast, of course. Now this is just early aerial combat, but there are other variations of aerial combat too, especially gunships, which are more personal, and you know you don't get to use your class skills in gunships. So I mean, at this stage, you've probably seen a lot of the gameplay now from Ascent Infinite Realm, from other MMO YouTubers and stuff. And I think the one thing they'll all say is that, first of all, the graphics and the engine is of concern. The one thing I will say is, for what it offers gameplay wise, you have solo dungeons, you have group dungeons, you have world bosses, open world bosses. Like once we get out of the tutorial and you open your map, you'll notice that there are bosses just hanging around, and they're pretty cool. And some of them you can solo, some of them you can't. But it's the dungeons are pretty fun. The housing system is not bad either, but we're not going to see it in this video, since this is the early steps. And another point of contention is, of course, the cash store. If it's anything like other Korean MMOs, because this is the Thai version, it's very, I don't want to use the word pay to win, but, you know, the advantage is pretty high. And just like Kakao Games have said, you know, like I said, they have the license to bring this game to the West. They own the license. They could do the same thing they did with BDO, whereby they said they were not going to introduce advantageous items in the cash store, but in the end they did anyway. So, you know, those things we don't know until a global version is announced. So I'm done with harpies. Let's go look for behemoths. There's one right there at half health. Can I get to him before the other player finish it off? I may. Nope. I was too late. Well, there's one up here. Ah, look, there's a boss right there, right behind this one. And they took it down. That's the cool thing. You know, it kind of encourages community somewhat, because you know you can't take those bosses down, and even if you can, your mount will be losing a lot of stamina. Let's wait for that boss to spawn. Maybe I will need that boss for the next part of this quest. I can't remember. One thing I will say though, if you are planning to jump into the Thai closed beta, first thing you'll need is a key. I'm not sure, like I think they stopped giving out keys already. But then you'll need a VPN of some sort to bypass the region block, because it is region block, of course it is. Okay, let's go ahead and turn this in. And I should be leveling up. Yep, there we go. Now I've gotten a couple of things. You'll see sticker baby rabbit ears. That simply means a cosmetic item. So I can open up my important item and you'll see that I have the rabbit ears already. Let's go ahead and double click it, right click it. So it's now under cosmetic. So as soon as I know how to check out my character and turn and look at my face, there you can already see it, that rabbit mask thing that I have on. Now the important point to note is I am what, level 5 now? No, level 3. PK is going to be your skills, as you can see. And at level 4, I'll learn a new skill, Power Smash, Whirling Strike. So, you know, in comparison to other games like BDO, for example, you know, you can earn points and spend those points in wherever the tree takes you and get new skills. This one's really simple. All you got to do is just hit the levels, drag the skills to your bar. Now, in terms of combat, Air has this system called Tactics, and if anyone played Bless, this is going to be very familiar to you. So Tactics skill simply means every class will have a couple of different tactics, like one assault and the other one could be something else. So at level 8 or 6 or something like that, I can unlock another one, maybe tank or assault or defense, and that's going to change your gameplay. So right now I'm in the DPS variant of this class, the Warlord, but once I unlock Tactics, then I'll get my more defensive skills, for example. And I believe this is now going to be a story portion. When you hit this thing, it's going to take you to the Tree of Life or some sort of Gaia in the world of Air. Again, without an English localization patch, it's hard to understand or hard to know what's going on here. You could probably read some translation of the story. I don't want to do that. Keep it suspenseful for you. Not spoil anything. So here we are, the Lapin. This is like a central figure in the early story who I suspect just kind of takes you back in time to see events of how the world came to be, why the factions started war, and things like that. So here is a cinematic cutscene just to show you what the story quality is like. You know, these parts not really that impressive, but some of the background music are decent. Like it can't boast. Like, remember the Bless promotion campaign? Hans Zimmer made music for Bless Online. Imagine that. Ascent Infinite Realm doesn't have all that stuff. Very low key, but the production design for sound and music, it's not bad. Now the voiceovers, like you may have heard some voiceovers at the very beginning, the first couple of quests. Those are localized to Thai, so it will probably be different from the global or Western version whenever. Alright, here we are in Sunsetville, I believe is the name of the area, and now we get to see the town. So earlier on we were on the airship. Now, why I said this was kind of like a look back to the past, I mean, you look at the UI now, you've got these floaty clouds, so it's either a vision of the past or something like that. That's what I gather anyway. Now, remember what I said about texture pop-ins? To keep your eye on, you know, assets, NPCs, structures, objects popping in. The thing with Air is it doesn't do it all that much. Like if you compare it with games on the same engine, you know, Terra, Blast, think of a few others, even BDO, it doesn't happen often. I just saw that dog pop in and at the background there, but okay, this guy too, but it's not as bad. Like it's not as jarring, so I guess kudos there. But who knows, in other towns where there's more players, it could do so. Alright, anyway, we're almost at the half an hour mark now, so let's wrap this up by looking at the cash store, shall we? So, Ruby Box and Ruby Shop. Ruby Shop is simply the name of the shop for the currency. And here we go, your character here, Ruby Shop. Rubies are basically the premium currency. You can get things like the inventory expansion, again, very familiar, Black Desert Online. Automaton slot ticket, I have no idea what that is. You can get Vitality Enhancement Extractor because of the enhancing system for gear progression. Experience Restoration Scroll. If you die and you lose that XP, then yeah, this scroll will get it back. Gear Repair Kits, handy out in the world because there will be PvP zones. Revive Scroll, obviously important. Rune Slot Identifier. So yeah, character service, gear service. You don't get gear, like I don't see an option for that. The airship, nothing. So you could get airship stuff as well. Now let's see packages and promotion. Star Blessing, they do have a 30-day kind of thing. Think of the what's that value pack from BDO that has 7 days and 30 days. So Air has it too, but for 30 days, and this should give you a bunch of things. XP bonus or whatever. Not really detailed here that I understand. Premium service storage manager, so you have a walking bank, cool. Reconstruction mission reset ticket. Appearance change voucher. A megaphone. So this one, if you want to if you want to chat in the world chat, you need a megaphone, which is fucking lame, man. Consumable. I mean, this is why I said the Thai version is real. The Asian version of games will usually have a heavy cash up, and then if the publishers decide to bring it to the West, whoever the publisher is, they have to restructure the store and the monetization system to not piss off, you know, a global audience. You have patch as well. And finally, Estate, which is basically your housing system. Special house upgrade. I wish they'd show like a preview of this stuff. Storage expansion and 100% tax off. So you get houses, but you have to pay tax. And that's basically the store so far. So yeah, you don't really get, you know, those enhancing bypass or immediate gear unlocks and crap like that, but it may come. Who's to say? It may come. Anyway, that's it from us. This video's gone on long enough, 35 minutes. A quick look at your first steps in Ascent Infinite Realm. If you have a key, lucky enough to get a key, and are jumping into the Thai closed beta. Now, all of this that you just watched could be changed for whenever this game makes its way out of Thailand and Korea. And it may take another year or a year and a half for it to even be playable in the West. So who knows when that will be. But these are the early days of Air, and there's loads more that the game has to offer, especially when you get to a higher level. PvP, open world PvP, the mech battles, the airship battles, housing, and you know, a bunch of other fun stuff, which really it makes me a little more excited compared to the boring stuff, you know, grinding and obviously the gear enhancement system, which I couldn't care less about, to be honest. So that's it from us. Hit the like button and subscribe to MMOSWORLD for good stuff, and check out our website at mmosworld.com. As ever, I've been Adrian from MMOSWORLD, signing out.